I'm certainly willing to admit that the Inspector General found serious abuses of FISA that I was unaware of. Had I known of them, Chris, yes, I would have called out the FBI at the same time. But I think it's only fair to judge what we knew at the time, not what would be revealed 2 years later. But yes, there were very serious abuses of the FISA process. They need to be corrected. We need to make sure they never happen again.
That seems, Brit, on its face to be a fine answer right now. But if you look back in time at what was happening then...
He says he didn't know about that. What utter nonsense. One of the most striking things about this IG report, Brett, as I'm sure you've noted, is how closely it mirrors what the Devin Nunes investigation, when Nunes was still chairman and Schiff was ranking member on the Intelligence Committee, what Nunes found and what he said about the FISA abuses and so on, to which this very same Adam Schiff issued a report in rebuttal which disputed the Nunes findings now confirmed by the IG report. And now he claims he didn't know about those things. Of course he knew about them. He wrote a rebuttal to them, and the rebuttal was full of falsehoods. So, you know, it's striking to me that having said for however many 2 years that he had all this additional evidence on collusion, and that turned out not to exist, or it was at least unfindable by the Mueller team, he now is claiming that he didn't know about the FISA abuses, which he most certainly did. And yet here's the guy appointed by Nancy Pelosi to lead the impeachment inquiry. Remarkable.
You know, that part of that interview didn't get picked up a lot. And back in when he issued that response to Nunes, the media lifted up that response.
Oh, the media treated Schiff's response like this was the official report. These are the facts. And I've looked to see if any reporters are now acknowledging that they had that wrong. I think I've counted one.
Last thing, very quickly. Do you think there's any shoe to drop in this process of impeachment that we don't yet know?
Well, you know, as you've often said, Brett, about all these things, we don't know what we don't know. But I would say this. I attribute this desire to bring on additional witnesses that weren't called by the House or were not reached by the House as an attempt to try at long last to breathe some life and to engender some real public interest in what is being charged here. It hasn't worked so far. Public opinion has barely moved. And I don't think, you know, that the Democrats think they have much to lose by calling in witnesses. But I would say this about one witness in particular, John Bolton, who throughout much of the time in question, not all of it, but much of it, was the National Security Advisor and thus privy to the deliberations in the Trump administration about how to handle Ukraine. And somebody who's a Ukraine, you know, supporter and hawk. Yeah. If they want to call John Bolton, they should be careful what they wish for, because I don't think anybody has any real idea what he will say, and it is by no means guaranteed that he will be a witness against Trump.